Hello and welcome to I Am Fearless. I'm your host, Vickie, and man, am I glad that you decided to click and spend a little time with me today. Today's guest is Patrice Angwenyi. All right, Faith Boss, founder and CEO of HustleBlendz Coffee, an author, an educator, a strategist, and a speaker. Okay, Patrice just recently added another project to her list, which is called the Thefaithboss community, and it is she calls it, what do you reference it as?
I reference it as the dangerous community of faith and entrepreneurship.
I love that. And if you thought I was finished, take a seat or take a breath, because Patrice is also very pregnant and soon to be a mother of two under two. Very pregnant. I mean, is there anything that a woman can't do?
Man, I'm starting to realize that no, not at all.
Right.
And if we don't think we can do it, God just finds a way to just stretch us and just show us that we can. So yeah,
absolutely.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So I want to thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for being you and being a guest on I Am Fearless. I'm really excited to have you here. It is really an honor and a privilege to sit with you and chat with you today. Yeah. So let's get it started. Tell us how you're making history here in Fort Worth.
Hey everybody. My husband and I have started a coffee shop here in Fort Worth, Texas, and we are the first and only cold brew bar. So that means we specialize in the cold brew coffee process. All of your favorite coffee shops do serve cold brew. Not what I'm saying. All right. What I'm saying is that we chose to niche down in a lane that a lot of people have not. And so historically speaking, we are the first and only.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. And the coffee is delicious. It's delicious. Endorsed by Vickie. I will be back. It is delicious.
She is drinking a Southside double shot. I don't know if I told you.
No,
it's
delicious.
Yeah. So that's one of the more popular ones on our menu. We have a lot of fun things on our menu, different ways we play with coffee. We have all of our menu items are named after different songs and just different inspirations in our life. You know what I mean? We have one called Hola Vito. That's a Jay-Z song. Somebody out there knows that. Somebody out there is watching that and like, wait a minute. And so that's our horchata cold brew blend mashup, and it is dope. It's amazing.
It sounds good. I love horchata.
Yeah, I'm so proud. Because a lot of black people don't drink horchata. They're like, what's that?
What is it? Yeah.
Come on, man.
I have to be honest. I'm into.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. No, it's just the fact that you know what I'm saying. It's an educational moment. It is. It's an educational moment. I'm so proud.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know what horchata is.
Okay. Yes, it's delicious. I love horchata. It's like oat based, right?
Yeah. So it's actually rice milk.
Okay.
Yeah. And then with cinnamon infusion, and it literally puts you in the mind of eating a big bowl of cereal as a kid of cinnamon toast crunch. Mm-hmm. And after you're done, you better drink that
milk.
You better drink that.
That's exactly right.
The milk almost hit harder than the cereal.
Yes. The milk is like the best part.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's good. Yes, that's good. That's a very good description. That's accurate. That is very accurate. Okay. So I have to ask you, what is fueling your ambition?
You know what? When I grew up around a lot of people who had a lot of industrial skills. You know what I mean? Like my mom, my grandma, all know how to do anything with their hands. My mom's sisters, my uncle, all of them could break anything and fix it back up. But what I happen to have seen is that in all of these skills, there was never a level of pursuing ownership. Mm-hmm. Like my grandmother was a fanatic about thrifting and a fanatic about collecting things and hoarding things, and she always wanted to have a garage sale and a rummage sale and sell curtains that she should have been selling to people. But there was an ambition there, but there was never a pursuit. And or at least from what I witnessed, there could have been one, but I always wondered how could somebody be so talented and not pursue these things. It hit me, and as I got older, my mom used to make these little rag dolls and stuff. She could do anything with her hands to this day. And then I saw that same rag doll being sold on Target for like $60.
No.
And I was like, you made this out of like pillow slips and like stuff you find around the house. And that's when I figured, I was like, we're not capitalizing on something, we're missing something.
Right.
And when we're missing that thing, it's evident because it shows up in other areas of our life, right? Like, if you don't know how to maximize off of a talent and get paid off of it, when you're without something else in your life, we got to question, what didn't we pursue? And so a lot of what's fueling my ambition is that now that I have children, well, I have one, but I'm making the other one, but now that I have children, I have to start owning that in my speech. I don't want them to ever look at me and excuse themselves from the work. Mm-hmm. I don't want them to ever say it didn't work or it can't work or I can't do that. I remember growing up and a family member told me, like, you know, while I was watching the Cosby Show for one of the first times, they're like, black people don't live like that. Mm-hmm. And that, you know, I refuse to put restraints on how I can live and how I can dream and what I can do. So that's what's really fueling the ambition. It's like, well, you know what, why not? Mm-hmm. Why not me?
Why not?
Yeah, why not my family?
And if not you, then who?
And if not me, then who?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think so many of us, people like to say, and I know it's said with the best of intentions, right? When people say, you know, you're not where you're from. Where you're from doesn't define you. And if I could push back on that just a little bit, I believe that where we're from should define us to a degree, but it should never like limit us. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I own where I'm from. I own what I don't know. I own, you know, what I didn't have or what I don't have still. I own it. So where I'm like, I'm never going to excuse myself for being able to have more.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. No, I can totally relate to what you're saying about the stigma almost or the belief. I don't want to call it a belief because it's not something that I have accepted as a belief, but the stereotypes that surround the capability of Black people. Mm-hmm. And you are breaking that, and I applaud you for that. I really do. And it's important to have business owners that represent us and look like us, right. And that are doing the types of things that you're doing. So yeah. I applaud you for that so much. So with all of your ventures, I've got to get comfortable with it because I have so many questions. So many questions. I'm like, besides how you're doing it, but like with all of these different things that you're doing, what do you tell yourself when you're facing impossibility? And when I say that, I was recently in church, and the sermon that I had received, it was about Moses, and it was parting the Red Sea. And my pastor, he said, just think of the Red Sea as you facing the impossibility, and how important it is for you to not be afraid and to go forth. So what do you tell yourself and whenever you're facing such a big project or a big venture?
You know, there's a few things. One of the things is that I do a daily miracle tracker, if that makes sense. And if you don't know what that is, just hold tight.
Okay.
I realized that, you know, there's a lot of things that have come up in my life, and I'm sure everybody's life, your life, whomever's watching. There is such a high possibility that when you wake up, that you will face something that you cannot control. Multiple things you cannot control. You can't control who's driving on the highway. You can't control who's in line in front of you in the drive-thru. You can't control what happens. Life is so unpredictable. There are so many unknowns. There's many more unknowns we run into in the day than predictabilities, right? And so when I realized that I can't control even the unknowns that are to come. You know, the fact that I have 2 under 2 now, the fact that there's business is unpredictable. You know, when you're a full-time entrepreneur, like, you don't know what your day is going to look like. You don't know what your month's going to look like. You know, there's so many things I can't control, even though I look like I could be able to control it, right? And so one thing I do is every day I realize that anything in my life that I've never known how I was going to do, I ended up being okay. Like 10 times out of 10, when any of us look at our lives, you end up getting through what you go through.
Wow.
Like, no matter how bad it is, how heavy it is, how, oh my God, oh my God. Like, no matter how many meltdowns you face in a day, a week, a month, whatever your frequency is, you end up seeing the other side of that. Always.
Always.
So you kind of have a win-win track record, you know, where God is consistently showing his glory in your life, no matter if you have the answer or not. So when I face impossibility, because every day we do, you know, every day there's something that comes across my desk that I do not have the answer to. That very well is impossibility.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Or a struggle or a mental fog or whatever you want to call it. I don't beat up on myself. Because I realize that sometimes the thing that's standing between me and the thing that I don't know how to do is the acceptance of me being a student for that moment. I'm so used to being the teacher in so many different moments of my life. So when God sits me down and makes me a student for a second, a moment, longer than a moment, I need to be able to accept that for a second. Wow. You know what I'm saying? I need to be able to be like, let this teach you something. That you don't have to have the answer right now. You don't have to teach and then provide the people with the answers right now. Just sit down and shut up and learn for a second. Yes. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You know, okay, so and during that sermon, my pastor, he was like, God told Moses, tell them that to be still and know that I am the Lord.
That's it.
And my pastor said, that pretty much means shut up.
Just shut up. And like, it doesn't mean you're fired, you're demoted.
Right. I
believe that we get so hard on ourselves because we have created productivity to be an idol.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like, and so speaking to that real quick, because before somebody pulls my coattail, because you own a business named HustleBlendz. Like you own, like how could you say such a thing when you're selling coffee and promoting people to get out there and get it? And I'm just like, yo, look, the hustle in our HustleBlendz is an acronym for help us see the light everywhere. If God is telling you to see the light and sit down, then sit down. You're still, you know what I'm saying? You're still doing what you need to do. There's nothing wrong with, for a second or a season, warming up your seat for a little while. There's nothing wrong with being on the sidelines for a little while. Don't make productivity an idol. You don't always got to be spinning your wheels out here. You know?
Wow, that's good. That's great advice. That's great advice, and because I think that oftentimes when people find themselves spinning their wheels, it's because they're trying to fix something or trying to force something to happen. And whenever you force, that's the time when it doesn't come through.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's when you're under the interpretation that you hold the answer or you are responsible for a lack in your life. You know what I'm saying? So if you did, I want you to know, because Vickie has clearly found this out, that anytime you say, hey, Patrice, let's talk, Jesus is coming, okay? So if you don't know who Jesus is, you shall be acquainted with him by the end of this conversation. All right? If this ain't your kind of talk, then back up. You know what I'm saying? But I talk the way I talk.
I know that.
Jesus. And so anytime there's a lack in our life, a perceived lack, because you really might not be lacking nothing.
Exactly.
You probably just tripping.
You probably just want everything. Girl.
You really just tripping.
Because we have more than what we need.
Yeah.
If you look at everybody's life, we're all living in abundance. We wake up and we literally have everything that we need. The air in our lungs, water, food. I mean, like, it's around.
Whatever you don't have, you have access to.
You have access to.
Agreed.
That is so true.
Agreed.
That is so true.
Yeah.
So why do you think that faith and entrepreneurship accompany one another when opening a business? Or need to accompany one another when opening a business?
I tend to think the conversation goes like this with a lot of people, right? Because any of us can scroll down our timelines or put in hashtag girl boss, hashtag entrepreneurship, hashtag whatever your hashtag choice is, hashtag 9 to thrive, whatever. And it feels like people try to incorporate faith in entrepreneurship. But in all, I believe that I'm incorporating entrepreneurship and faith. I believe that in this walk, I've been assigned to whatever my gift is. You know what I'm saying? If it's to encourage, if it's to uplift, if it's to, intercede for others, whatever. Entrepreneurship is a tool for me to do that. It is not my purpose. I want to be clear in saying that. I want to be very clear in saying that because I know that all the 6-figure earners, 7-figure earners, All the girl bosses out there are gonna be real mad. I said that. It's fine. It's okay. You will sleep. But you know what I'm saying? I tend to feel like entrepreneurship is a vehicle to reach people. If you don't love people, you shouldn't be doing this. If you don't care for the souls of people, you should not be doing this. If you don't want to actually be a resolution for people or a community or others, this is not for you. And the benefit of it, a benefit of it could be the money. But if you go in it for just the money, you'll get it. You'll see it. Eventually you'll see it. You know what I'm saying? But will you be fulfilled? So faith and entrepreneurship is not, I know I tend to say they go hand in hand. No, I'm walking the life of faith. God has given me a measure of faith, right? He's given me a measure of belief. I believe different. You know what I'm saying? When I walk into things, I know that no matter what, God is going to purpose me to see the other side of it. That is my belief. It doesn't matter what it is. Motherhood seemed impossible to me for the first few seconds, moments, days, years. It's fine. You know what I'm saying? It seems, but I know that there's a purpose in it. You're a mom of 3. You got grown, like, look, she's an OG mama. She's an Olympian.
I have grown kids.
She's an Olympian. I feel like when I look at women like you who have the 3 beautiful babies, but they're adults and one baby, and I'm like, man, that I can learn so much. But I'm sure now that I'm in the shoes of a mom, I know for a fact, without even having any further history on Vickie, that there were probably some days.
For sure.
There's some days where you was look if you struggled in belief before, you was calling on something.
Yeah.
Like, God, please. God, please. I need answers. I need this. I need that. So yeah, entrepreneurship is to me a byproduct of faith. Mm-hmm. But faith is my priority. Walking in what my assignment is my priority. If I get called to something else, I'm still gonna be in it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Well, tell us the name of your book.
It's called Thefaithboss.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I was in college, my aunt, she's passed on since then, but she bought me Girl Boss by Sophia Amoruso, which I'm sure everybody has read or heard of. Mm-hmm. All right, and this is the book that made everybody be like, I'm about to blog, I'm about to resell clothes, I'm about to figure something out. And it was so beautifully empowering to see women own that, to see women owning the idea of changing their mindset and owning the idea of ownership, right? And I read that book and I felt empowered by it, but there was a very heavy missing element from it. And it was like, man, I know for a fact in this walk that they're like, I need Jesus. Like, I don't know how people who don't know him don't do it. I just don't know. I don't understand it. I be like, man, there's days where I'm struggling in my belief. There's days where I'm struggling to know what's gonna happen, what we gonna do. You know what I'm saying? There's moments where I truly need to be centered on something. So as a response to that book, not even just that book, but just the need in my life, I wrote Faithboss. And it's more about Jesus than it is. There's business plans in the back of the book. There's all kinds of different worksheets and different things that you can really get your stuff together and move ahead and ba. But before you get there, we're talking about foundation. We're talking about your heart. Mm-hmm. If your heart ain't right, you shouldn't be selling nothing. You should be selling Girl Scout cookies.
I don't want to buy from you.
Now, it ain't going to stop people from buying from you. But Vickie ain't. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to stop people from buying from you. It ain't going to stop you from being in a position of making the money. But I care about making impact.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Money going to come and go. I care about making the impact. I care about, people having something to take home with them. So.
Wow. Impact. And that is exactly why I wanted you to be a guest today. Because I feel like that you are making such a positive impact in Fort Worth and in the world. It's just right now we just know you locally, but I see you going very, very far with what you're doing and your beliefs and how ambitious you are and how driven you are. And I'm really excited to see what's coming up for you in the future beyond everything else that you have. Look, I'm trying to add some more stuff.
I don't want anybody to watch this, hear this, and think like, oh, she's doing all of that I have a support system.
Mm.
I have a village. I have a husband who is 10 toes down. Do not play about Patrice. I have true wisdom. I have true counsel in my household as my husband in my head. So as much of a boss as I am, and as much as he empowers me to be, like, I'm very much in order in my household. You know what I mean? As far as this is not just me. This is, you know what I'm saying? I share this weight with my husband. He carries more than I do sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So I have to shout him out in this, and I know he'll be like, "Girl, like, please, girl, like, you don't need to, beautiful. You don't have to do all that." But I just have to be very clear that this is the product. Even the way I speak, the way he speaks over me. You know what I'm saying? It's partnership.
Wow.
1,000%.
That's
1,000%.
beautiful. That's beautiful. Tell us your husband's name.
My husband's name is Patrice Angwenyi-IG. And you are free to search or follow him, but if you jump in his DMs, I'll fight you. I hope you love your life. So, that's it.
Tweety is off the market, okay? It has been and will forever be.
You know,
don't go near him.
You know, but I be choking on rice one day. Like, yes. Tweety, I'm like, nah, girl.
That is so funny. So, you know, one thing that comes to mind when we talk about the projects that you are working on is that some people have this belief that you're only supposed to focus on one thing. What do you say to that?
I don't think anything's wrong with focusing on one thing at a time. I don't think you should ever limit yourself. If an opportunity comes, and if you hold the capacity to, like, please hear those as prerequisites. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to. You can't do nothing but run one race at a time. You can't do nothing but finish one thing at a time. But God calls us to wear different hats and to operate in different multitudes, right? So I don't think anything's wrong with doing more than one thing at a time. But are you doing a lot of different things in avoidance of one thing? Would be a question I have. Do I need to restart?
Let me pause real quick. Well, you know what? We can keep going because I think I have.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you doing multiple things in avoidance of one thing? Are you supposed to be out here, doing a podcast, and you out here doing hair, and nothing wrong with it, but doing hair, doing nails, doing toes? Are you avoiding the core of what you should be doing in order to look busy? Because busyness is also an idol. You know what I'm saying? Like always wanting to be caught in these streets doing something. You know, I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It could really, it could deflate you. You know, so yeah.
One thing that you said about whenever you and I had a conversation before, you said something that alluded to you have to do whatever is haunting you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like that very much because it kind of goes hand in hand with what you were just saying. If something is calling you and you're avoiding it with all these other little busy things that you think you're supposed to be doing, it is very important for you to answer that call.
People go decades,
girl,
of life,
girl.
I don't know. Putting off what they could and should be doing. I believe that if God has called you to multiple things, He'll grace you for it, but don't you dare go at it without Him. That's what I think. I think that sometimes we chase accolades. We want to be known as the first and the only. I mean, but it is true. But you know what I'm saying? We want our star on the wall. We want all these different things from just doing so many different things, and we're chasing a lot of gold stars. But we really have to ask ourselves, what is it that we should be doing? What is that thing that's haunting you? What is that thing you can't get out of your head? What is that thing that every time you see somebody else do it, you sick in your stomach? You stole that from me. Did nobody steal that from me? Get up yourself. Like, do what you're supposed to do so you can stop having an attitude. But yeah.
Wow, no, that's great. Another thing that you said when we were chatting that stuck out to me was that people don't see how many times I failed, and I really want you to share more about that, because I think that that's important. That it's not always to show and to share that it's not always going to be pretty.
Yeah, and yeah. I would have thought 30 minutes ago. I would have thought I was would have been so much more prepared for that question. But people see a lot of things on you. That's all of us. That's all of us. People look at Vickie and probably are like, "Oh my gosh, Vickie!" And Vickie would probably be like, "Look, if I sit you down for a minute, I'll probably tell you some things that don't align with what I may look like. You know what I mean? Or what you may know about me, or what you want to believe about me. But I don't hide my failures. I don't bury the idea of the fact that I failed, or I fell short, or that I whatever. I don't care if you see my mistakes. I don't care if you see me falling or see me trying. That doesn't bother me because I realize that I'm living a very human life, and that is why I need Jesus. Yeah, he coming right. You see how I keep coming right back?
He in here.
Like I keep coming right back to this. Oh, finally she done talking about you. And so I'm always telling people that people come in the shop all the time. I want to start a business. I want to start a business. I want to do this. I want to do that. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Do you think that you going and get your business loan at the bank and you doing this and doing that is just going to make you arrive at this place? Like, people are under this guise that if I do this, I will be happy. If I own a business, I will be happy. If I marry this person, I will be happy. If I make this amount of money, I'll be happy. If I lose this much weight, I will be happy. And so the minute you attempt, so if this is your goal, and you realize your goal is all the way over here, the minute you make your first attempt and you fall short, you quit. You quit. Because I don't want people to see me fall. I don't want people to see me weak. I failed. It must not be for me. No. Do you understand that any accomplishment you've ever seen on anybody, no matter the size of it, was accompanied by a series of failures, a series of mistakes, a series of falling short, a series of whatever. So I tell anybody, I say, if you want to launch your t-shirt company, you want to launch your business, put your ugly t-shirt up first. And don't delete it. And don't delete it, because y'all love deleting stuff. Don't delete it. You know what I'm saying? If you put your first podcast up when you're recording in your closet. You know what I'm saying? Like post your first picture of the first time you did that hair and it didn't look the way it's supposed to. Like, own your progress. We keep falling in love with the end result of how something look like when people are booking us and calling us and our phones are chirping every other moment and we have the money we want. No, if you don't own the process, if you don't accept the process, if you don't take it all in and just finally be like, man, this is what made me, people who get to the end of the thing and accomplish the goal are wishing for the process. Are wishing they knew what it felt like to be up and then down. So when it comes to me, when it comes to my family, when it comes to our business, when it even comes to my marriage, whatever we fall at, we get right back up. And it don't mean it's easy. Yeah. And it don't mean I'm getting right back up that second. Yeah. And it don't mean that, I don't lick my wounds for a second. I am very, very, very human. But it means that I have to know that no matter how long I choose to soak, if I choose to soak it all, I have to get up.
What do you tell yourself to get up? What's that conversation?
Yeah. It totally depends. It totally depends on what I'm getting up from.
Yeah. Right? Because, girl, sometimes it'll knock the wind out of you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what it's so funny you use those words because sometimes I don't have anything to say, but I'm confirmed by my next breath that there's an opportunity.
Wow.
That because there's still breath in my body, because there's still, the day is still, I'm still looking at the sunlight outside, because, you know what I'm saying, my baby is looking at me and I'm looking at him, because my husband is still there dealing with my foolishness, like, that there's an opportunity here for me to recover from this. And nobody is punishing me but me. Wow. Like, nobody is God's, that's the product of God's grace. That's the product of our mercy. mercy. Like, mercy is the very thing that we get because we don't deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Because we should have been, done away with because of it. But because every day the Word of God says, I get new grace and I get new mercies, I have the opportunity to renew my mind every single day, I'm going to take them up on that.
Every time?
I'm going to take them up on
every
that.
chance I get.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So this conversation is amazing. First of all, I feel like that this has been a beautiful conversation, and I literally could sit and talk with you all day, because I think that you have such incredible insight and wisdom from you putting yourself out there, trying new things, not being afraid of failure, being fearless in your venture of just answering the call that you've been given, right? The vision that God gives you, you're answering it every time, or as often as you possibly can. I think that that's just beautiful. So I want to know, what does success then look like to you?
I'd say success.
I always stump people with this question, but it's such an important question, and the reason why it's so important is because success looks different to everybody, and I've said this before, but I feel like that we don't need to measure our individual success by anybody else's. It's only what you feel.
Yeah,
is success.
Yes,
exactly.
Exactly. Totally. I'd say success is, for me, every opportunity of resilience. Anytime I got back up. I'm not worried about how much money I made that day. I'm not worried about how many people sung my praises that day. I'm not worried about a number. Success to me is not quantitative at this moment in my life. At this season in my life, I've had to learn how to not quantitate, not make data equal success. There was a time it very much so was, so I'm not condemning anybody for being in that place or that space, because I can understand it. But what I am saying is this: anytime I've gotten back up, because again, every day we face impossibility. Every day we face an unknown, right? Every day we are faced with challenges. What did I do about that? What did I do about that? That is where I am tracking my wins and tracking my success and tracking my miracles. So, yes,
that's good. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. What and so we're coming close to the end of our interview, and I have one last question that I'd like to ask you, and it is, what is one piece of advice that you wish someone would have given you at a pivotal point in your life, whether it was you starting a business, having a baby, just something that you, when you came to it, you were like, I wish somebody would have told me this?
I think there's some lessons I needed to buy on my own.
Okay.
There were, because I was very fortunate. And I'm not speaking about a blueprint of business, and I'm not talking about there are no cheat codes. Like I know y'all learning all the master classes, y'all doing all the things right now. There's nothing wrong with investing in information. But what I'm saying, there are no cheat codes. There is not one rich dad, poor dad yourself to death. Until you make a decision today to be the rich dad and the poor dad. You know what I'm saying? So, somebody out there gonna feel it.
I feel it. I feel it, because you know what? Reading and doing are two completely different things. So you can read about it all day, but are you taking actionable steps towards doing it? Yeah. That's where it counts.
I think for me, one thing I was fortunate about, and it was truly a blessing to me, and it meant more to me than anything else, is there were some people in my life, there were some elders in my life, my mother-in-law, even my parents, who, it was very simple. And it was extremely simple, but it meant the most, and it means the most to me, of just keep going. I know, it's not any MX plus B equals Y. I know it's not, put this in your brother. I know. Okay, I can give you something practical and I can give you something to follow up on that. I will do that.
Okay.
Because I know somebody's pissed that I just didn't say that. But, when people let you in on the fact that the failures have accompanied the wins, I've had people who've shared that with me, who've been honest with me, who said what you're going through is normal. With you'll see the end of it. You know what I'm saying? It's just keep going. Like, Patrice, I dare you to see what's on the other end of that. That is something I did hear, and that is something that still drives me. There is nothing in that department when it comes to mindset. I don't think I didn't have an opportunity of knowing. But when it comes to practicality, what I would advise anybody is to really know your why in business. To know your why in business, to know your why in entrepreneurship, to know who you're selling your product or your service to, and to use OPM, other people's money. What I mean by that is this. There are a lot of opportunities out here for free money. There are a lot of opportunities out here to get funded for your business. So do your due diligence. I will rich dad, poor dad there. Do your due diligence in understanding the language and the information. Should you choose to go the venture capital route? Should you choose to go the bank credit card route? Should you bootstrap? Whatever the case is, because wherever you go and ask for that funding, should you need the funding, you need to be able to tell people, you need to be able to pitch your business. And if your business is just a good idea and your homies down the street know what it is, that's fine. But to be able to turn your business into a edible, ingestible language, I would highly recommend that. So that's something I would have liked to have known, and I'm glad to tell anybody. Yeah.
Wow. No, yeah. Thanks. That's great. That's great advice, and I do completely agree with you with your first piece of advice, and just don't give up.
Just see the end of it.
Yeah.
Or else you'll regret it.
Yeah.
Or else you will regret it. If you don't see the end of it, if you don't never know what it looks like to get past your winded point, you don't regret it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because once you go through it, and I've said this before, but once you go through it, on the other side of it may be exactly what you've been waiting for. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. For sure. Wow. Patrice, this has been amazing. It's been awesome. I love what you had to say about owning your process and taking actionable steps to making the ideas that you have in your head, and bringing them out of your head into this reality so everyone can see it. That's great advice, and I also love how you said that failures accompany the wins, because I think oftentimes in business and when we decide to do or start certain projects, that we are so afraid of failure that it will prevent us from moving forward. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing your experience and being so open with us. I really do appreciate that so much. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Wow, this was amazing. This was good. This is good. I appreciate you so much. So Patrice, before you go, would you please share your information with us and where we can find you?
Sure, guys. My name is Patrice Angwenyi. Should you Google me? A few things will pop up. But on socials, I am at Thefaithboss. If you would like to be a part of our dangerous community with faith and entrepreneurship, where we have different events, meetups, Bible studies, and just different connections, it is Faithboss Community at Faithboss Community. LinkedIn, Patrice Angwenyi. So yeah.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, you guys. Well, I want to thank you all for choosing to spend your time with us today. And this is Vickie and Patrice.
Absolutely.
Encouraging you to love everything, everyone, and most importantly, yourself. Thank you guys, and God bless.
Bye, y'all.
Okay. All right. Nice.
Awesome.
Perfect. And